like that, whereas other systems that may get rejected, right? If it goes in diagonally or anything like that.
And is that what allowed us to look at all the bubbles for that particular contest?
Exactly.
Because it was a digital.
Yep, and ultimately, and kind of on the back end of that, what we do that separates us is we database every marking, every oval, every contest area, and we're able to do some unique things that we'll get into the administrative benefits of what you saw at the beginning later as we kind of go through. And there are quite a few. So getting back to kind of what's in this machine, it runs off of a white light scanner, which is what allows us to be able to read any color ink. So it's not, red light, that you can't use red pens or anything like that. We can read any color. As you saw earlier, we can actually even read things like pale yellow highlighter, pencils, light markings, and so on. It has a 4-hour battery backup built in. Double barrel locks for security. That's actually an improvement that we just made in the system. We have an extremely fast thermal printer for report generation in there that can just kind of tear through again. Right, you'll see some of that as I go through the setup of the machine. And that's just a little bit about the hardware. It has two thumb drives that are two memory sticks that are completely redundant to one another. So if one is ever lost, you have that backup. The internal hard drive is also a third point of data redundancy, but that clears after the election is closed. So with that, I'll take you through the programming and the setup of the machine. I will try and distinguish it.
Your scanners, have you had any problems with them failing, like the actual white light scanners?
Nope. So, and I think I know where you may be going with that. So the one thing is with the scanners is just making sure that they remain clean.
Okay.
Right? And we provide guidance and processes on all of that throughout both election day and then maintenance, just making sure that no buildup or anything like that occurs on the scanners that can skew the images.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I'll get through what to do with the ballot jam and all of those different things kind of as we go through. Do you actually have a key for the machine?
Just to your question, well, we have seen no issues with our scanner or anything in the system. One thing we've done in the building of it is, well, James talked about this casing being the only proprietary thing. We've developed a methodology that if something goes on in 4 years, 6 years, whatever, we can go in and replace single pieces of it to upgrade that, right? If better imaging technology comes along, different, that allows us to upgrade to it, we can upgrade across the whole fleet without needing you to replace the entire rest of the pieces. If the touchscreens want to be upgraded or something happens that we have not yet seen in the field, those are upgradable down the road. That's the methodology. A little bit to your point too around COTS, but it's built into that as we talk through it. And frankly, the casing is, this is an example of the casing. We're always in dialogue. So how do we make that more efficient? How do we make it sleeker? How do we make it smaller? How does it better fit your needs? That's all feedback that we'll sit down and go through more certification processes and iterations. We're really confident in the software and in a lot of the pieces, and then we work with you to say, how do you want this to look for the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah. Yep, so just kind of reiterate, every component in this is interchangeable. And I apologize, I skipped over that piece. It's very, very important. What that does is it gives you a system that can grow with you over time. Right? We designed it specifically that way. And again, just to kind of reiterate what Jordan said, if the screen ever breaks, you can just swap out the screen. You don't have to buy an entire new unit. If Intel comes out with a faster NUC processor and you want to see your scanning times go from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, you can swap out the NUC processor. Things like that. Any questions on the hardware? Okay. And I know that this will be tough for some folks to see. There's a secure compartment on the side, and I'm going to walk you through the loading process. And again, I will distinguish specifically when it gets to the point that a poll worker would be interacting. I know that that's really the most important thing for right now. I just have to get through the rest of it as well. So this machine is set to boot up the minute it recognizes power. So when we talk about simplicity and less poll worker interaction, even so far as them not having to hit a power button, it will boot up once it recognizes power, which we obviously did earlier. There is a power button inside this compartment also, just in case the power's out at the beginning of the day for the polls. Obviously, you need to have a backup for that. But first step, poll worker plugs it in. The same thing for you guys. Gonna enter that in. So once you put the memory drive in, so again, from Clear Design, from the election management software, you're burning that master file onto a stick, and that is your election file. You load it into the machine, load the election, everything's password protected, so we're gonna enter that election's password. Hit the wrong buttons. And from there, you're gonna set it to its data reporting level, right? So is this gonna be an early voting machine, an election day machine? Basically, so you can slap an extra layer of data, excuse me, that you can do reporting on later. For this example, we'll just say election day. From there, you're gonna set it to the vote center, which is all configured in the election management software. For our demo example, we'll set it to community center which houses precincts 1 and 2. And again, this is nothing that the poll workers would be doing. This is all done on the back end. From there, you do your LNA testing. And ultimately, when you're done, you end test, hit set for election. And ultimately, this is where it would be powered down and sent out to the polls. So again, on election day, a poll worker would come in, plug it. I imagine that you have a setup crew that would be setting everything up in advance. But they would come in, plug it in.
Actually.
Sorry?
We don't actually.
Okay, so what do your poll workers do?
Well,
Are they pulling it out of the cases in the morning and setting it up?
Well, we have a Monday night meeting, so we set up most of, well, what we can on Monday night, but we
Okay.
do everything, so.
Awesome.
We deliver it on a cart and they.
Okay. So what they would do then, either Monday night or in the morning, is remove this machine from the case. Again, put it on either our large ballot box, which we'll talk about. Is designed to also be tabletop. We have a few different options on that we can get into. But they plug it in, it'll boot up, they enter a password, and it would come up to this screen. So, and that's what I want you guys to take away, just that simple. They plug it in, enter password, and they are here. Now, they hit open polls. It's set through Clear Design to print however many copies of the zero report tape that you want automatically, so they don't even have to hit another button for that. Once they click open polls, it starts, the zero report tape comes out. I'm just gonna cancel the print job just because there's no point in wasting paper. Start voting. And that is it. So really they enter a password and click 2 buttons which have the visual cues again on them. Blue on this machine is generally what somebody should be clicking in any specific circumstance. And they're in the voting session. They shouldn't have to touch this machine again throughout the day.
How big is a paper roll in it?
If you're putting a new paper roll in it, is it 120?
I think it's 130 feet.
130.
I can get an answer for sure, but I think it's 130 feet.
Yeah. If you're putting a new paper roll in every machine, you should never have to. You should be fined for every election, even if you print multiple copies of reports. So again, they shouldn't have to touch this machine throughout the day. If there is anything like a ballot jam though, I want to show you the maintenance of it because it's a huge plus in our system, I think. So again, there are no so everything in our system's done digitally, so there's no mechanical diverters or moving parts in this system. The path of travel of the ballot is literally going in this tray and coming straight out the back, and we're taking a picture of it in between. So there's less room for any type of failure to go on. You know, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that we never see a ballot jam though, right? You never know if a voter, forcing something in or anything like that. In fact, I think if anybody tells you that their machine never jams, probably shouldn't buy their system. If there is a ballot jam, all the poll worker has to do because there's only really one place it can occur, right? All the poll worker has to do is pop open this lid, the scanner sits directly underneath. They can open it up and pull the ballot straight out. Obviously lifting up the scanner, it's still happy, not happy, it's gonna pull up a warning. So removing a ballot jam is literally that simple in our system.
Will it alert you if the ballot was counted or not counted?
Yes. So if there is a ballot jam, it'll tell you where the jam occurred. If it's in the front, which is the remedy is popping open this hatch and pulling it out, or it'll tell you if something happened coming out of the back of the unit, in which case you may have to open the ballot bag or the box and grab it out. But it will always tell you if it's been counted or not. Yep.
Are you able to customize the screen of that, you know, as the vote, what the voter's seeing right now, like right now it just says insert ballot, do you have options to?
It's not customizable.
Okay.
The image is hard coded.
Yeah.
However, if you want something different, we can look at that. So we just
We
added
never
that
have a
actually.
one sheet ballot ever, so we have to tell our voters not to put both sheets in at once. So I think we,
Gotcha.
yes, and Brian, what's it say? I always forget, sorry, insert your ballot one sheet at a time.
Correct.
So the image is not customizable to you, but the text is.
Oh, okay.
So you can change
It's a
where it
beautiful
says
picture.
insert ballot.
I feel like you changed the
Thank
picture.
you. Well, thank you. Peter and I actually chose that out of a lineup, so
Well, I would
I
pick the
appreciate
same
that. Yeah, so the text is
Okay.
customizable to you. And again, in the last version, so we just got certified, our second version in the state last week. In the previous version, it just said insert ballot. We incorporated in that graph.